Good evening, and thank you for joining us at tonight's candidate forum for Legislative District 17. I'm Julie Erfle, Communications Consultant at Erfle & Cuft and columnist at the Arizona Mirror, and I'm pleased to serve as the moderator for this Legislative Candidate Forum for Education, co-sponsored by two local nonpartisan 501c3 organizations, the Arizona Center for Economic Progress and Save Our Schools Arizona Network. These organizations are collaborating to provide voters with objective and factual information about key public education issues so they can make informed decisions this election cycle. We will begin by allowing each candidate up to 2 minutes to introduce themselves and their education platform. For the sake of equal treatment and ample time for Q&A, we will be keeping time and asking candidates to conclude their remarks immediately when their time limit is reached. As you can see, there's a countdown clock visible for all candidates and audience members. Once introductions are complete, I will ask 4 questions that were contributed in advance by registered audience members. Each candidate will have 1 opportunity to answer each question in under 2 minutes. And if another candidate's answer directly references you, I, the moderator, may choose to allow 1 minute for a response if time allows. At the end of our forum, I will ask each candidate to deliver closing remarks of no longer than 1 minute, and we will conclude the forum. I encourage the candidates to share their websites or social media handles during that time so that voters may continue to learn about your positions. With that, we'll begin our discussions. I'm going to allow candidates their 2-minute opening statements using alphabetical order. Unfortunately, a number of candidates asking for your vote chose not to participate tonight. But we will hear from AJ Curtaloo and Jennifer Pollock. Thank you for joining us. Let's start with our opening statement from AJ Curtaloo.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Arizona Center and Save Our School. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Ajlan Curtaloo. You can call me AJ. And with the support of my community, my neighborhood, and hopefully with the Save Our School group, I'll be your next senator from LD17. Little bit about myself. I emigrated from Istanbul to Arizona many years ago. I came after college to get my MBA at Thunderbird. Then I decided to make Arizona my home. I built my business, small business here in the Valley, in my district actually. I bought my home that I'm sharing with the love of my life for more than 15 years here in Chandler. She is a teacher, by the way, a public school teacher. As we speak, she's doing parent-teacher conferences close by. And now I have the honor and chance to represent my community, my district, at the state Senate as the first-generation American. And I believe this can only happen in United States. It shows how exceptional our country is. I am humbled with this, and I'm very proud of my district and my state. And I'm running to provide a great education for Arizona children. I'm running to provide a protection for for all Arizonans who have pre-existing conditions. And I'm running to see our communities thrive with small businesses. So basically, I am running to provide the best life ever for Arizonans in this state. And I'm looking forward to this panel. Thank you. I have 7 more seconds. Good job, AJ.
Thank you, AJ.
Say, that's clicking out there.
Thank you, AJ. Next, we'll hear from Jennifer Pollock.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you to Arizona SOS and the Arizona Center for Economic Progress for hosting tonight. I am State Representative Jennifer Pollock, and I am running for re-election in District 17 in the Arizona House of Representatives. I'm an Arizona native, and I am somebody who my entire life has been built around school and education. I knew from the time I was 6 years old that I wanted to be a teacher. I loved to read, I loved school, I loved my teachers. And I attended school in Arizona from kindergarten all the way through my master's program in the public setting. I taught kindergarten through 6th grade for 17 years, and now I teach part-time for one of our state universities in their College of Education. So I still have my foot in the door, and I'm so lucky that I get to work with young people who want to be teachers. So my story about getting involved starts about in 2013, 2014. It was that year that my school won the National Blue Ribbon Award. And that's a really huge honor, as only 5 schools are nominated each year. So you would imagine that the morale would be through the roof. Everybody would be so excited to be at school. However, at that time, we were having an issue where teachers' salaries were actually going down because the bonus structure career ladder was being phased out due to a lawsuit. So the expectations were the same or increasing, and our pay was going down. So the year that we won the National Blue Ribbon Award, we actually had a number of teachers break their contracts mid-year and leave. So it was at that point that I knew that I had to get involved to try to make a difference for Arizona students and teachers, because complaining wasn't helping. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you both. Now for the questions. These were submitted by registered participants prior to tonight's event, and for the sake of transparency for our viewers, please know that these questions were shared with all of the candidates ahead of time. Candidates, please stick to under 2 minutes. We will go in reverse alphabetical order for question 1 and alternate that order for the remainder of the evening. We will start with Jennifer Pollack. Jennifer, what resources are needed to have excellent schools, and how will you make sure that every student's public school, especially those from disadvantaged communities, has those resources?
There are a lot of resources that are really needed, but I think that it starts with a qualified teacher. So we need to have teachers who have been through a College of Education teacher prep program. In addition to having a qualified teacher, we need to have modern curricula. So whether that is access to books that were printed, say, in the last 5 years, and technology that works, we need to also make sure that we have classrooms that are safe for our students. And I would say during this time with COVID-19, it's really important that our students who are working from home have access to technology, and they have access to the internet so that they can access curriculum regardless of where they live in the state. It is critical that we have our certified teachers throughout the state, and we probably should be working on different ways to recruit teachers who will be willing to work in the outlying areas so that those students have the same opportunities as the ones who live in our district, because I do think that those who are attending Gilbert and Chandler schools are very lucky. We tend to pass our bond and override elections, and most of the time when teachers need supplies, they have them in our district. But it shouldn't just be something that students who live in Chandler benefit from. It should be everybody in Arizona has the same benefits. And I think I'll stop there and I'll let AJ have a chance.
Thanks, Jennifer. AJ, same question for you.
Thank you. I would say, as a small business owner, I truly understand the most important part of your organization. It's the people, your staff, and that's the area I believe that in Arizona we have to work hard on it. I mean, we have to allocate sufficient funds to in our education system so we can pay our teachers in Arizona a livable wage, a wage that is respectful to what they bring to the table, to their education. We just have to do that. Where we are at now, it's unacceptable, and we see the results of it. We have the highest teacher shortage, basically, across the country. And we just have to increase their pay so we can recruit good teachers, and then we can keep the ones we have in our profession. And also, we have to invest more into the infrastructure, just like Jennifer mentioned, especially right now. We need our children and our teachers, our staff to be in safe and healthy environment. I think those are the two big issues that I will work on, I would say, when I get to the state Senate.
Thank you, AJ. Question number 2. Schools at all levels are faced with significant new health and safety challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. How will you identify and advocate for the resources needed to ensure healthy and safe schools, as well as those resources necessary to deliver high quality education? And this time we'll start with AJ Kurtulu.
On that one, as a state legislator, you have to have an open door policy, I would say, and you have to listen first in this issue, your school district. You have to be open them and listen their needs. You have to hear from them because they will know what they need. And of course, the experts, especially health department, the scientists, we have to know, because this is the information they will bring to the table. We have to know how to protect our kids and personnel, and especially defeating the COVID or protecting our population, our kids. We really have to have a collective approach, I should say. The legislator, school districts, the teacher, parents, and the scientists. We just have to work together. And I believe as a state legislature, my job is first and foremost, listen to them and try to provide what they need as quick as possible. And I believe that's an issue that it is lacking right now in our state legislature. We know so many of them, they are not even communicating with the teachers and educators. I will not be like that.
Thank you, AJ. Jennifer?
Will you read the question one more time, please?
Sure. Schools at all levels are faced with significant new health and safety challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. How will you identify and advocate for the resources needed to ensure healthy and safe schools, as well as those resources necessary to deliver high quality education?
So I would agree with AJ that it's critical that we're talking to the people on the ground. So we need to have open communication with our school leaders. We need to have open communication with our teachers, with our parents. And we need to listen to what do they have available and what do they need to provide a safe environment. I think that that is critical, and we can start there and then move forward as to finding the funding for that. As far as providing the high quality education, I think that the COVID-19 has really shown us the disparities between those who have access to technology and those who don't. It's become very, very clear that different students across the state are accessing the curriculum in very different ways. Some haven't skipped a beat. There have been others who don't have access to internet or didn't have access to computers. There have been some public-private partnerships that have helped with that, and I'm very grateful for it. But I think, again, it comes to listening to the community to see what is the need, so that maybe we can help facilitate the need by bringing groups together. I had an interesting conversation, it was in the beginning of the summer, with Dr. Peterson, who is the president of Chandler Gilbert Community College, and he mentioned that he had money for hotspots. So in that way, he could help the elementary school students maybe who needed access to that. And you know, people tend to work in silos, and if you can bring them together, then you can help out in the community. And I think that we really have to do that during this time. oftentimes when there's a problem, we look to other states to see how they've dealt with it. And nobody's dealt with this before. So we're having to come up with solutions on our own, and other states may be looking to us because we were one of the first school districts to open.
Thank you, Jennifer. We're going to start with you for question number 3, which is today, Arizona taxpayers subsidize private schools and private school tuition at a combined cost of about $400 million per year. What is your position on private school tax credits, empowerment scholarship account vouchers, and the emergence of micro schools, which all have the result of diverting public tax dollars for private use?
Okay, so initially, when there were the vouchers available for private schools for students with disabilities who weren't having their needs met in the public schools, I'm okay with that. However, I'm not okay with the expansion. I think, as a person who attended public schools, as a person who taught in public schools, as a person who chose public schools for my family, I think there's so many great programs in public schools, and we shouldn't be doing anything to pull the money away from those public schools. And the micro schools, I think, are really tricky, because here's the thing. There are some families who don't want to send their kids back to school, and they see this as a solution, and maybe they have the money to pay for a tutor to watch their kids, so it seems like a great idea until we realize it's pulling money away from the public schools. So that's where that issue becomes a really big problem. I think that we should be putting more money into our public schools rather than making new programs to pull the money away from our public schools. The voters voted recently when they said no more vouchers, yet we continue to try to come up, not we, some people continue to try to come up with different plans to take the money away, to increase the vouchers in a different way. And the voters have spoken and they've said no, they don't want that. And we should listen to the voters.
Thank you, Jennifer. AJ?
Thank you. You know, I have 2 great teachers in this arena. One is my running mate, Jennifer, and the other one is my partner, Victoria. So that's where I gather all my public school information, I should say, first of all. You know, we have a funding problem in public schools. The teacher pay where we are, the money that we invest per student. I don't have to tell to this audience. And I know through Victoria, just like any other teacher, she spends hundreds of dollars every year to buy classroom stuff that she needs for her classroom every school year. And that's unacceptable. I don't do that on my own business, asking my employees to spend money for my business. So at this juncture, this empowerment scholarships account, which I agree with Jennifer, started with a good idea, but the way they want it to expand in this high level, it will take out the little money that we have from public schools. So keep it the level it is acceptable, but not to expand. And also, this is not up to me. The people of Arizona spoke on that issue. They refused that idea, huge margins. And pushing that forward is basically will break our public education system, which is the #1 choice of Arizona parents. So we have to respect Arizona parents' choice in this issue.
Thank you, AJ. We have our last question, which is actually a 2-part question. And we'll start with you, AJ. Do you support Proposition 208, Invest in Ed, which would establish a 3.5% income tax surcharge on the wealthiest 1% of Arizonans raising approximately $940 million annually to increase teacher and classroom staff salaries, reduce class sizes, and more than double state funding for career and technical education. And the second part, why do you think voters in LD17 should agree with you if you predict they do?
Okay. Very short answer, yes, I do support that. I wish our state legislature for many years had done their job, so we didn't need a proposition to solve this issue, this education funding problem that we have. I mean, they could solve this problem many, many years ago, pay our teachers in a respectable way and fund our schools so we are not at the bottom of the pile across the country. And Arizonans, basically, they said, enough is enough. I don't want my kids to be in a classroom without a certified teacher. And how many do we have? I think 1,800 of them, 1,800 classrooms without teachers. That's unacceptable. And they went out and looked for a solution, and that's what they come up with. And I support that. And the second part of your question, you know, as a first generation American, I want not just the better, but I want the best education for kids in Arizona. And that's an education that fits to the American ideal, the America image that we have as first generation. We should have that in our state. And that's one way to reach a step forward, in my opinion, Prop 208. And I believe, I'm certain actually, that our neighbors in LD17 will agree with that. Because what we are asking, a best education for the children of Arizona.
Thank you, AJ. Jennifer?
Likewise, I support Proposition 208. I want people to know it's more than just teacher pay, but teacher pay is a really big deal. Yes, we had Prop 123. Yes, we had the 20x20 plan, but we're still lagging behind other states. And when is it okay to say, oh yeah, I'm fine with being below average? No, I'm not okay with being below average, and I don't think anybody in Arizona wants to be below average. I know that people who live in District 17 don't want to be below average. We like to be the best in everything. So I want to make sure that people understand that when this passes, there are 5 buckets of money. So one will increase teacher pay. One will increase the support staff pay. That's a bill that I've run the last 2 years, but it hasn't even had a hearing. So this is another way to address that. This will help with CTED, which is career and technical education. So the vocational arts. This will help with mentoring and retaining new teachers. And as AJ said, we are short 1,800 certified teachers in our classroom right now. And this school year, we've had 751 people leave the classroom. So we need that. There will also be money available for the Teachers Academy. So those who want to become teachers can have their tuition paid if they agree to teach in the state of Arizona. So things in Arizona have gotten so bad, and to AJ's point, the legislature has not done a good enough job. We have to do this. We need to do this for Arizona's children.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
And thank both of you. You gave us a lot of valuable information. At this time, each of you will have 1 minute to share your final remarks. And this time we're going to start in reverse alphabetical order. So we will start with you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for moderating, Julie. And I appreciate those of you who are tuning in remotely. I hope that you will consider me for a second term in the Arizona House of Representatives. If there's somebody who can understand what teachers need, it's someone who has walked in the shoes of a teacher, and that is me. I would invite you to visit my website for my views on other topics, and my website is jenniferpawlik.com. Pawlik is spelled P-A-W-L-I-K. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it is at Jennifer_Pawlik. And then I have two Facebook pages. One of them is LD17 House, and then the other one is Representative Jennifer Pawlik. So thank you so much for allowing us to be with you tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Jennifer. AJ?
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, everyone who is watching tonight. I know firsthand the challenges that everyday Arizonans face, because as a small business owner, a first-generation American, I do face them myself every single day. I'm running for Arizona State Senate in District 17 to bring a fresh perspective, a new voice to our Senate and solve these problems. I'm running for best education for our kids and affordable, accessible healthcare, and for thriving business community in our cities. Our district is changing, just like our state changing. The only thing is not changing in our state is, in our district, is the stale approach of our state senator. So as a first generation American, a small business owner, I know how to collaborate, work with everyone, because that's the key to the success. And that's what I will bring to Arizona State Senate. My name is Ajlan Kurdolu. You can call me AJ, and I humbly ask for your vote for State Senate. And my website, the best one, voteforaj.com. Very simple, please visit. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you both. Again, we really do appreciate that you took the time and you had the willingness to be here and answer the questions honestly and directly. We appreciate that. And viewers, we want to thank you as well for joining us. Full-length videos of tonight's forum will be available on our YouTube after the event. Remember to mail back your ballot by October 28th at the latest. Voting centers are open for in-person voting as early as October 7th. Look online or post questions in the comments thread if you'd like help finding a location. Again, I'm Julie Erfle, and on behalf of the Arizona Center for Economic Progress and Save Our Schools Arizona Network, thank you for being an informed voter. Good night.